Hi everyone, welcome to Orgo Essentials, not your basic organic chemistry tutorial. In this special episode, I'll be reacting to some common organic chemistry assumptions that I've experienced or heard. Let's get started. Number 1. Organic chemistry is the hardest class in college. This one really depends on you as a student. It's true that organic chemistry is different from most classes you've ever taken, even other chemistry classes. It relies so heavily on logic and critical thinking, and you won't be able to fly through with rote memorization. It's more like learning a language than it is learning a science, albeit a language that you're expected to be fluent in and an award-winning author in after about 3 months. Yeah, it's a lot, and it's definitely not an easy class. However, it does not have to be the hardest class. It's usually taken somewhere in the sophomore year of college, after you've already adjusted to all of college life. Plus, it can be really fun. It involves a lot of drawing and visualization of 3 dimensions and models, which can be nice for those of you who are artistically inclined. It doesn't involve quite as much math as other fields of chemistry, which is useful for those of us who would rather not deal with math. Really, all it requires is a strong general chemistry background, creativity, and the ability to think outside the box. Number 2. You have to be really good at math to do well in organic chemistry. This one is absolutely not true. While math is always useful to understand foundational concepts of chemistry, like quantum mechanics and kinetics, organic chemistry is much more about logic than traditional crunching numbers math. Yes, some math is involved. You should be able to count electrons and keep track of them throughout reactions. You should be reasonably capable of visualizing molecules and their geometries, and how these shapes affect their interactions with other molecules. I will never discourage someone from learning higher math on their chemistry journey. It certainly doesn't harm anything. However, in general, don't let math scare you away from organic chemistry. Even if math isn't your strongest subject, I've found that organic chemistry makes it manageable. When mixed with the best subject in the world, math can even be fun. Number 3. Organic chemistry is impossible to understand. Totally 100% false. There's so much proof against this. I would recommend those who agree with this assumption to read Rachel Carson's Silent Spring, a book about the dangers of pesticides, especially DDT, or dichloryl diphenyl trichloroethane. She shows that chemistry and its overlap with human health is not an impossible subject. It's beautiful and easy to understand. I think this idea originated with the stereotype of a chemist as an old white dude mumbling away in a lab full of test tubes and bright colors and explosions. Time and time again, in movies and TV shows and books, characters who are scientists are painted to be above everyone around them, like their brains are just specially structured to understand science in a way that the general public can't. We tend to think of intelligence as knowing things that nobody else knows. We believe that the smartest people work on projects and experiments that can't be explained to anyone else. To set the record straight, this is pure nonsense. True intelligence is being able to explain your work, even the most complicated concepts and topics, to the general public, to students in high school, even to 6-year-olds. True science is collaboration and working together, pooling resources and perspectives in order to better all of humanity. Back to organic chemistry. I've personally found organic chemistry easier to understand than quantum chemistry or physical chemistry. It just relies very heavily on a good general chemistry understanding, so it can be difficult to understand if you didn't entirely understand hybridization or resonance. But luckily, these concepts are super accessible and easy to get a good understanding of. You can start right here, on this channel, with the links in the description below. TLDR, organic chemistry requires work, just like any other field of study, but its reputation as an impossible, genius-only subject is entirely inaccurate. Number 4. Organic chemistry isn't relevant anymore. I hear this assumption a lot, and I understand why. Nowadays, the main focuses are on biochemistry, with all of its protein revolutions and gene editing discoveries like CRISPR, molecular biology, for similar reasons, and biomedical engineering. And these fields are super cool, don't get me wrong. But all of these fields, and more, like medicine and climate solutions, all boil down to organic chemistry. To understand exactly how proteins and CRISPR work, you have to understand the mechanisms that organic chemistry rules. You have to understand intermolecular forces, equilibrium reactions, how chain reactions can start and never end. If you ask enough whys, you'll always find organic chemistry as the answer. The biologists and environmentalists and engineers out there pioneering a better world, they all depend on organic chemistry and those who understand it. In a lab, you'll be an extremely valuable resource if you both embrace and understand Orgo. Chemistry is often seen as a lonesome, individual sport, but every creation and discovery needs it. Organic chemistry is relevant to anything dealing with organic matter. It's life. Number 5. The final assumption today is that organic chemistry is a man's field. I actually agree with this statement in part. Organic chemistry certainly used to be a man's field. Back when the foundations of all these fields were still being constructed, women were mostly barred from labs and academic conferences. In short, they were kept out of all the places where physical sciences, like chemistry and physics, were happening. Because of this, they often turned to subjects they could study by doing field work, such as botany and some fields of biology. This is why some scientific fields today are referred to as soft sciences versus hard sciences. But women have been fighting for centuries, and organic chemistry shows it. Today, there are organic chemists of every gender across the spectrum. I love organic chemistry because it really focuses on the in-betweens, the left-outs, and the minorities. Organic compounds are overrun with carbon and hydrogen, but it's the other elements, like oxygen and nitrogen, only present in minuscule amounts, that make the magic happen. Resonance, one of the most powerful concepts in an organic chemist's toolbox, depends on what happens when something falls between two categories. You can find yourself in organic chemistry, I promise. And I'm going to continue to work to make sure that everyone is seen in Orgo. That's it for this special episode. I hope you all enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments or email me if you have any questions or video ideas that you want to see. I'll see you later.